Lesson 2 is the Indian Wars. So we're going to be talking about the Indian Wars and what a reservation is and why the government created them. First thing, reservation life was a challenge. Indians were no longer free to live or do as they pleased. So waves of settlers were moving west across the prairie lands, and this made the Plains Indians feel angry and threatened. Their homes were being used and claimed by strangers, and their buffalo were being killed for no reason. Treaty promises were being broken and forgotten, or misunderstood by people on both sides. So, a reservation is a small area of land set aside by the U.S. government for the Native Americans, usually just for one tribe. Here in Nebraska, we have a few different reservations that still exist. One that's nearby is called the Winnebago Reservation. And then rations. This is beef or other food items, blankets, and other supplies handed out to the Indians by the U.S. government, and oftentimes it would be late or rotten. So the tribes that were making their home in Nebraska were the Winnebago. They're from Wisconsin. They struggled to survive and many died. And Ho-Chunk means people of the parent speech. Another group were the Santee Sioux. They were from Minnesota. They suffered from mistreatment and were forced to move. And they called themselves the Asante Dakota. And finally, another group were the Lakota, and they felt the Black Hills were sacred. So the Black Hills are in South Dakota, which is just north of Nebraska. And the government set up the Red Cloud Agency in their honor, and they were given food and rations. So part of the Indian Wars was Massacre Canyon. The conflicts between Native American tribes also continued. In 1873, the U.S. government granted the Pawnees request to leave their reservation to hunt buffalo. But when the Pawnee scouts found buffalo, the hunt was on. And some reports say that most of the Pawnee were busy cutting up buffalo when they were attacked by the Sioux warriors. Over 70 Pawnee were killed, and most of their horses and dogs were lost. 50 years later, the Pawnee and Sioux chiefs met at Massacre Canyon to honor the people who died by smoking a peace pipe. A monument was set up to commemorate the honor of the lost lives. And here in this picture, you can see the monument that was